Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having just an amazing day today. Today, I wanted to talk off the next serial in my serial. This is 1936's Flash Gordon. I got my notes here on my cell phone, so if you see me looking down at it, that's what I'm going to be doing for you folks. As a reminder, I've dedicated Saturday to going over older serials, like movie serials, and so forth. This is the first science fiction hardcore. There were science fiction elements in earlier serials, but this is the first one with serials that had science fiction, and afterwards there would be like almost half of the ones in the next 5 years that would be pure sci-fi too. For you folks, Flash Gordon is heavily influential. As a reminder, serials brought people to the movies in a major way. For example, on a Saturday, you might go to your local movie theater with your neighborhoods, your family, your friends. Everybody would show up into the local smaller cinema, and then you would watch an A movie starting typically first, although you would have some cartoons, or maybe the occasional trailer. All the trailers weren't that big at the time. So you might have the occasional trailer, you might have the occasional thing here and there, but typically there'd be cartoons or newsreels by various companies or the government. And then your A movie would be the main one, and then a serial intermission. Then the V movie, more cartoons and shorts and newsreels and that sort of a thing. Maybe a second serial sometimes if you're lucky, and then you go home. And the serials are a lost art. They were done in typically 15 or 20 minute serials. This one's 13, 20 minute episodes. And they had this great opportunity as a way for you to build up the infrastructure of these stories over time and tell more and more gripping stories that were kind of cliffhangers. That's where they got. And they would leave you wanting more at the end of each of the plots. So it was great stuff. So that's basically the key concepts of what's happening in this at this time. So it's a huge way of doing it. Now this one must definitely put serials on the map in a major way, which we'll talk about. And again, this is 1936, so this is of its time. The main bad guy is named Ming the Merciless. He's a huge Fu Manchu character. He even designed his wardrobe around the Fu Manchu character, who is the Yellow Peril. He's an evil person from Asia and China, who is definitely a nasty person, who is definitely trying to destroy bad stuff. So he's definitely a Yellow Peril, so forth. So that's one thing of its ways, of its era. Another one is the opening chapter. It has a planet that's coming to Cloudfield. No spoilers. I'm just going to tell you what happens in the first chapter. But there, in that first chapter, there is a scenes of people panicking as telegrams arrive. And in the first few scenes, there are real places that we know, like Paris or Rome, stuff like that. And even Shanghai is shown now, and then India is shown as one country. It's the first country, and then Africa is shown as one. It's like Africa isn't a continent. It's because it's a continent. Come on now, you couldn't have shown one or two cities from Africa that we would have known about at that time. And then Arabia is surprisingly shown as one too, and this is the final one. So it feels a little weird in that way too, because of that. So that's kind of two. Also, there are two lead females in this one, both of whom have higher billing than Bill Milton, the guy who played. And these two are definitely of their era too, for you folks. If you go back and check my video on women in the Flash in the pulp era for more, but they are huge in this too. And so the first one is innocent and blonde and is the right choice for our hero. She's played by a serial actress who is regular, Jean Rogers, and is heavily played for this role for you folks. The next one is dark-haired, in this case brunette. She's the daughter of Ming. You'll find out about her, Princess Aura, and so forth. And she is dark-haired. She's sexually available rather than innocent and not available. And then she's willing to do stuff in order to find. She fights for him and stuff, but she's ultimately the wrong choice for a hero. And so forth. And so that's also another two-person. So again, those are definitely both parts of the pulp era for you folks. So those are both things. And that woman is a pretty good too. She's played by Priscilla Lawson for you folks. So now, again, this was hugely influential. They wanted to push this as more of adults. So they reserved theaters for adults, whereas before serials were sort of seen as teens and kids entertainment. So they heavily, so they booked it and they wanted to make this event television, and places were sold out. And in fact, many movie theaters were told by fans that they wanted to show this. And so they would show, rather than just one part over 13, they would just show it all at once. So So it's heavily influential also on things like Star Wars and other movie media and other serials and science fiction too, in many major ways. So it's a huge success too for many of those things. This is my favorite serial. It's a 10 out of 10. I think it's a great place to start. Although last week's The Adventures of Captain Marvel from 1941, 5 years later, is probably a better made serial, but this one definitely feels good stuff. It's rumored that this budget was $1 million, which would be a lot of money, but it's probably not. This is Universal's second best selling film of the year. If you include it as a movie, made a lot of money. It put a lot of people on the map in a major way. Now, the star of this Buster Crabbe is a swimmer, and this is not uncommon in this era, particularly after this, to put athletes, in this case an Olympic athlete, into starring roles of these sort of action, sort of driven science fiction times. He would dye his hair white and then put a hat on in order to avoid people seeing it that he was blonde or catcom, because he's a little embarrassed by it. But he has, because he's not a trained actor, he was an athlete first, he's definitely good at action scenes. But I don't think his timing is as good, but he's got tons of fans. And he would heavily, massively influence. He would have played 2 other main serials in this era, Buck Rogers and Tarzan, 2 after his success in this. He's got a lot of fans even today. He actually died pretty recently. He lived a very long life and had a very fulfilling one too, I'm sure. So that's the lead, Larry Crabbe, for you folks. So the world building on the planet Mongo, where it's just set for all 13 serials mostly, is definitely incredibly well done. There are a big number of races. Each of the races have distinctiveness and characters and costumes and world designs. It reminds me of the world building of the Doctor Who serial, The Web of Fear, for you folks. Not the Web of Fear, the Web Planet. Sorry, the other Web one. This is the William Hartnell one. It's set on another planet. There are no other characters are humanoid in this. They're all insects or insect-like and such. And I love it so much on the Web Planet. I think it's great stuff. No, in that William Hartnell era for you folks. So good stuff, and it reminds me of the world building in that, which just has some incredibly strong stuff. For you folks. Again, this is Universal trying to put themselves on a map in a major way for you folks. And the Hayes office actually had issues with the costumes that were worn by our 2 female leads. And so they actually came out and said, hey, this is our issues and such. And so they decided to turn them down for the 2 sequels that came out. Next, we'll do the next sequel, Flash Gordon Goes to Mars, next week. And then Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe is the last one. So this is, once again, it's giving it 10 out of 10. It's a classic. It's my favorite serial of all time for you folks. It's a lot of fans too. Heavily influential in modern stuff, and then and in the lost art of the serial for you folks. So there, I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you watched Flash Gordon? If not, I'll link it to you in the comments below. Do you think my 10 out of 10 is outrated? Because it's great action, great world building, great except for the timing and sometimes the delivery of the lead. Everything's very strong here. Although, still it's of its time, right? It's got the yellow face character. It's got the Fu Manchu lead, right? It's got women that are kind of characterized of its day, so it does have some limitations, but it's definitely very strong and well done. So that's why I think it's a 10 out of 10 for you folks. But if you disagree, Your mileage may vary. It's no problem. I'm not going to lose any sleep. So let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you like this video, why not hit the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, to be notified of my videos, and then also the subscribe button too, and let your friends know who might like this or have heard of it before, just like older sci-fi stuff generally. And then finally, I just want to pause and take a moment just to thank you so much just for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video, because we all have so many things, right, that happen in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spend this time with me is definitely humbling, and I appreciate it. Thanks again, and have an amazing day.